Hello kiddies, your Uncle Spurt here, and today we got us a proper clash of the titans as two smartphone behemoths go head to head in a duel to the death. Except not really, of course, it's just your typical bog standard phone comparison. Samsung's Galaxy S25 Ultra is certainly stirring up a lot of emotions on the internet. But how does it compare with one of its biggest rivals out there, Google's Pixel 9 Pro XL? Yet another Android behemoth that'll absolutely rinse your wallet. Well, I've had my Sims stashed inside of both of these whoppers, and here's how they stack up for everyday photography, bit of gaming on the side, etc. So let's see which one might be best for you, and for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! So just when you were thinking the 6.8-inch Google Pixel 9 Pro XL was a stupendously massive twat, along comes the 6.9-inch Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. Now, as you can see, they're both proper hand fillers, but the Galaxy S25 Ultra is slightly taller and a smidge wider than the Pixel 9 Pro XL, though the bezels surrounding the screen are ever so slightly skinnier here on the Galaxy compared with the Pixel. And even though Samsung has rounded off those corners a wee bit for the S25 Ultra, it still feels like a sharper, more angular device. Although frankly, both phones are still a bit too iPhone-y for my liking. The sooner that flat edge phones die a death, the better. Up front, the only other real noticeable difference is the fact that the Galaxy S25 Ultra's selfie camera orifice is a bit more compact, a bit more subtle compared with the Pixels. And if we flip around to the back end, got a frosted glass finish on both. Those matte surfaces doing a pretty good job of repelling fingerprints and grimy greasiness. But of course, a very different arrangement for the old cameras around back. And personally, I prefer the Pixel's arrangement because it means it doesn't rattle about the place when you're poking it if it's sat on a desk or a table or whatever, unlike the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Now, it's a bit of Corning protective glass front and back for both of these blowers. It is the older Victus 2 here on the Pixel 9 Pro XL, whereas it's the fresh new Corning Armor 2 here on the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Now, according to both Corning and Samsung, Armor 2 is more scratch and drop resistant than Victus 2, because I'm sure that Jerry Rig Everything will be able to test that one out fully, because if anyone can bollocks up a phone, it's that lad. But the other major advantage of the S25 Ultra's Armor 2 glass is it's highly anti-reflective. So if you've got light beaming on both of these smartphone displays, now visibility is seriously a lot better on the S25 Ultra. And also, the S25 Ultra boasts a tougher titanium frame with a matte finish so it doesn't get all greasy and grimy again. And that's compared with the shiny, glossy finish here on the Pixel 9 Pro XL, which, as you can see there, does visibly pick up fingerprints and dust and muck. Now, Samsung and Google both offering a handful of different color choices for these phones, including some online exclusives for the Galaxy S25 Ultra. And no worries if either of these phones gets proper moist, because they're both IP68 water and dust resistant. Now, to unlock these phones, you do have an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor built into these almighty displays. And these take a proper full-on 3D scan of your thumbprint, so nice and reliable, even if your thumbs have been somewhere they shouldn't have been. They're a bit mucky or whatever. And yeah, you got full face unlock support on both of these as well, and nice and nippy once again. I find it works pretty well on both phones, even in quite low light conditions. Now, both these blowers are running Android 15 now that the Pixel's finally been updated. But of course, it's a lovely clean stock version of it here on the Pixel 9 Pro XL. Whereas of course, Samsung has lovingly smothered its own One UI 7 launcher on top of Android to give it a very distinctive look and feel. And for me, Android just feels that little bit smoother here on the Pixel, thanks to the lack of heavy launcher action, but One UI 7 certainly run a lot smoother than some earlier versions. And both Samsung and Google offering a very generous 7 years of OS updates and security patching with these blowers. So they might absolutely drain your savings, but hey, at least you won't have to upgrade again anytime soon, touch wood. That said, if you are planning on keeping your smartphone for a while, you might want to upgrade from the base level of storage, because it's a measly 128 gigs with both of these phones. You know, considering the amount of money that you're spunking out on both of these blowers, that's pretty bloody stingy. I've reviewed a load of mid-range mobiles that come with minimum 256 gigs of storage stashed in there, so come on Google, come on Samsung, sort it out. Oh, and as if you had to ask, no, neither support microSD memory cards. As for which is better, stock Android or One UI 7, well, it all comes down to personal preference basically. Now, my main beef with One UI is, as always, Samsung has duplicated a lot of the apps and services you already get stuck in there in Androids, like the web browser, smart home shenanigans, smart assistant, Samsung Pay, yada yada, and of course it pushes these apps and services pretty hard. Although it's pretty easy to just basically get rid of them and overrule them with the original Android stuff if you prefer. And of course, because these aren't iPhones, they come absolutely packed to the tits with AI. So you've got Gemini, who's actually a pretty decent smartphone assistant. Got the usual circle to search shenanigans, so you can quickly find out more about something you spot in a photo. You've also got transcription and summarization tools, which are genuinely helpful if you find yourself in, lectures, meetings. You want fast access to a specific bit of information that happens somewhere in the middle of an hour-long get-together. Of course, plenty of photo editing tools, which we'll touch on in a bit. And Samsung certainly really heavily pushing the AI features here in the Galaxy S25 Ultra to the point where you've got an entire submenu of the settings dedicated just to AI, with the option to limit any AI type shenanigans to the device itself, no cloud-based action. Here on the S25 Ultra, it's a bit more context aware with the likes of AI Select. So for instance, if you're watching a video, you can quickly and easily create a GIF or GIF or however you say it of the action. But gotta say, certainly just going off YouTube video comments alone, it seems like most people are unconvinced by AI in general, just reckon it's a gimmick to try and sell more phones. And of course, whether you actually get anything from any of these AI tools entirely depends on your own personal circumstances. And another feature of the S25 Ultra that's stimulating quite a lot of colourful discussion, shall we say, online is that S Pen stylus. Because for the S25 series, Samsung has killed off the Bluetooth support for this wee jabby effort. So you can no longer use it, for instance, to take photos remotely with the S25 Ultra's camera. So yeah, basically you're just limited to sketching, drawing, editing documents, all that kind of fun stuff. And no stylus bunged in a convenient orifice on the Pixel 9 Pro XL, so it's basically stylus versus fingering. Now, display tech, and well, of course, it's a gorgeous bit of OLED action on both of these blows. A 6.8 incher on the Pixel versus 6.9 inches on the Galaxy S25 Ultra. You've got a Quad HD plus resolution, so even though they're absolutely whopping great big displays, you get nice crispy pin sharp images on both. If you're enjoying the same movie side by side on the pair of them simultaneously, well, you're probably either a YouTube dickhead like me or just a bit weird. You'll also probably notice that on the default display settings, the S25 Ultra pumps out slightly warmer, slightly more vivid visuals, although the difference isn't vast and you can tweak the visuals in the display settings if you need to. Both max out at 120Hz refresh, the viewing angles and everything perfect as you would expect. And when you manually max out that brightness, the Pixel is quite clearly visibly the brighter of the pair. Yes, that's even with extra brightness enabled here on the Galaxy S25 Ultra. But don't forget, of course, S25 Ultra less reflective in general, so this helps to make up for it. But in the evening times, nighttime, etc., I found that both of these phones are comfortable to use. Those displays dim all the way down. However, they are both pretty crap when it comes to PWM dimming, which personally I've not been affected by, but if you are very sensitive to the OLED flicker in low light situations, then frankly, you're probably going to want to get a completely different phone, because apparently either of these might end up giving you a bit of a sore head. And of course, a stereo speaker setup on both these smartphones as you would expect. Let's test them out one at a time, starting with the S25 Ultra. It's that time of year again, kiddies. Time to take the pliers to Grand's gold teeth if you fancy Samsung's latest Ultra blower. And now the Pixel 9 Pro XL. Again, let's max out that volume. It's that time of year again, kiddies. Time to take the pliers to Grand's gold teeth if you fancy Samsung's latest Ultra blower. So on that peak volume, the Galaxy S25 Ultra can pump out slightly louder audio compared with the Pixel 9 Pro XL, slightly bassier as well, but there's not a huge amount in it. And frankly, I'm more than happy sitting the Pixel 9 Pro XL next to me in the kitchen while I'm busy clattering with pots and pans, banging things, cursing up a storm. You can still clearly hear what's going on in my bit of Netflix, YouTube, whatever I'm enjoying. And also no issues with Bluetooth streaming on either of these massive buggers. The haptics are perfect, all good. So now let's have a shufty at performance, and the brains of the Pixel 9 Pro XL is the Tensor G4 chipset, crafted in collaboration with Samsung. Whereas for the Galaxy S25 Ultra, Sammy has gone full Qualcomm with the Snapdragon 8 Elite. A truly FAP-worthy chipset if ever there was one, and in fact here in the S25 Ultra it's the Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy, which has apparently been overclocked over the original. Not that you'd really notice, because the original was absolutely perfect for gaming on the likes of Wuthering Waves, Genshin Impact and more demanding Android fare. And so completely unsurprisingly, the Galaxy S25 Ultra coped admirably with the likes of Wuthering Waves, even when I slammed all those visual settings up to the maximum possible levels. A solid and dependable 60 frames per second was maintained at all times during my gaming sessions, no matter what kind of random antics were happening on screen. Even punching a giant demon bear right in its furry happy sack doesn't cause this thing to stumble. Unfortunately, the Pixel 9 Pro XL doesn't fare quite so well with that Tensor G4. This does struggle occasionally when playing more intensive titles like Wuthering Waves on the higher graphics settings. It certainly can't keep pace with the S25 Ultra at that 60 frames per second level, with regular obvious visual dips in that frame rate. Still, the good news is that neither phone overheats, even if you're gaming for over an hour. The Pixel 9 Pro XL definitely gets the toastier of this pair, but not to a troublesome degree. It doesn't start to singe your fingertips or anything like that, while the S25 Ultra stays pleasantly cool at all times thanks to that enlarged vapor chamber. And both phones also offer up a gaming mode of sorts, not as good as quite a lot of the competition out there. In fact, here on the Pixel it is proper basic. You've got Do Not Disturb. You can also slap a frame count right there on screen so you can see just how much it's not enjoying life during Wuthering Waves or whatever. You can also take a screenshot or record the action, stream to YouTube live, and you've got some optimization for supported titles, but I haven't found any that support it yet. Meanwhile, here on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, you can actually get a bit of performance mode on the go. Otherwise, scale it down to balanced or battery saver modes for less intensive titles. You've also got a frame booster tool, which I've got to admit I couldn't actually notice any difference when I did switch that on in Wuthering Waves. You can once again take a screenshot or record the action. You've got additional tools like the ability to block Bixby, always a good thing, and also block that auto brightness. And you can pop up an app on screen as well, quite handy if you want to pop up a bit of YouTube action. And watch a walkthrough from somebody who actually knows what they're doing. It's certainly coming in pretty handy for Wuthering Waves, although frankly I'm perfectly happy just running around molesting demon bears. But then there's not much difference at all when it comes to the battery capacity. It's 5,000 mAh here on the Galaxy S25 Ultra versus 5,060 mAh on the Pixel 9 Pro XL. And it is still early days for me with the Galaxy S25 Ultra, but I found that it, just like the Pixel 9 Pro XL, can happily last a full intensive day with hours and hours of screen on time, mixed usage, plenty of camera play, audio streaming when the phone is hibernating, video streaming, etc, etc. So certainly more demanding users shouldn't have to recharge either of these phones midway through the day, or worry about running out of charge in the evenings if they are having a night out on the tiles. However, I have noticed that gaming seems to really run down that Galaxy S25 Ultra's battery pretty fast. You'll get around 4 hours of playtime on the likes of Wuthering Waves from a full charge, that is with the Quad HD Plus resolution enabled, full on performance mode, etc, etc. And that's compared with more like 4.5–5 hours of Wuthering Waves action on the Pixel 9 Pro XL. And for anyone who's obsessed with battery benchmarking, I ran the obligatory side-by-side video playback test, looped a downloaded movie over and over again, and I discovered you get around 24-ish full hours of video playback from the Galaxy S25 Ultra and the Pixel 9 Pro XL when they are completely charged. And very similar results again when it comes to the battery recharging, because you've got 45-watt wired charging support and 15-watt wireless charging support on both the Samsung and the Google. Although the Galaxy S25 Ultra does support the fresher Qi 2 wireless charging standards, you can expect some fancy pants magnetic charging adapter stand things to spring up for that one. And so kiddies, let's finish up this lovely wee side-by-side Pixel 9 Pro XL versus Galaxy S25 Ultra comparison with a good hard squint at the camera tech. Now it's a 200 megapixel primary shooter here on the Galaxy S25 Ultra versus a 50 meg primary shooter on the Pixel 9 Pro XL. You've also got yourself a fresh 50 meg ultra wide angle shooter on the Galaxy versus a 48 meg ultra wide on the Pixel. And then the Pixel has a third and final lens, a 48 megapixel telephoto with 5x optical zoom, whereas it is a dual telephoto setup here on the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Got a 50 meg shooter with 3x optical zoom and a 10 meg periscope shooter with 5x optical zoom. Now both of these phones offer a level of control over the actual settings, so for instance you can quickly tinker with the brightness, the shadows, the white balance, etc. here on the Pixel 9 Pro XL. Whereas here on the Galaxy S25 Ultra you do have a full-on dedicated Pro mode where you can mess around with settings like the ISO levels, the white balance, etc, etc. You've also got the option of a dedicated Expert RAW mode as well, but here on the Pixel 9 Pro XL you can also shoot in RAW if you want to. And both phones offer a high resolution mode, which of course maxes out at 50 megapixels here on the Pixel 9 Pro XL, as you can bump it up to either 50 or 200 megapixels here on the Galaxy S25 Ultra. But in my side-by-side camera tests, I stuck both the Pixel 9 Pro XL and the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra on auto mode, the way most people will use them, and the Pixel spaffed out more natural looking photos. It doesn't artificially boost those colours, unlike the Galaxy S25 Ultra where you get warmer images overall. Although on the flip side, evening shots do tend to look a wee bit brighter on the Pixel. I have noticed some serious noise creeping into my S25 Ultra snaps at times, especially in more ambient conditions, which is quite rare to see on the Pixel phones. And the Pixel 9 Pro XL is also superior for HDR snaps, while the S25 Ultra unfortunately does show signs of oversaturating in high contrast scenes like the sea in this example. And if you want to take photos of kids or cats or other alive things that absolutely will not stay still on command, then again the Pixel 9 Pro XL is my favourite of this pair. Certainly ended up with a lot more blurry shots with the S25 Ultra whenever the subjects in question would not stay still. And I still prefer the Pixel for portrait snaps as well. As for your zoom shots, well, up to the 30x zoom level, it's actually neck and neck between the Galaxy S25 Ultra and the Pixel 9 Pro XL for detail levels. The Galaxy S25 Ultra can zoom in beyond 30x, unlike the Pixel, but things do get a little bit abstract once you do so. And naturally, of course, you've got those AI photo editing tools packed on here to spruce up your shots with minimal effort. So for instance, you can play a kind of malevolent god by erasing other human beings from existence. With the Pixel, you've also got the likes of auto frame. You can also adjust the sky so it looks even more jazzy. You get a bit of golden hour action on the go. And if it's a bit of video action you want, well, you can shoot 4K resolution footage at 30 or 60 frames per second here on the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Otherwise boost up to native 8K shooting at 30 FPS. Here on the Pixel, you can once again shoot 4K footage at 30 or 60 FPS. However, if you want to shoot 8K footage, well, it doesn't actually record natively at 8K. What it'll do is it will shoot at 4K and then upload that footage to the cloud and upscale it to 8K resolution. And also, Sammy's smartphone can shoot 4K HDR footage at either 30 or 60 frames per second, whereas on the Pixel 9 Pro XL, you'll need to drop to just 30 frames per second if you want a bit of Ultra HD HDR video. But both the Sammy and the Google are respectable for your home video needs. Stabilization is decent, audio pickup nice and clear. Although at night time you've got the video boost feature here on the Pixel 9 Pro XL, which can reduce quite a lot of the grain and just tidy up the visuals. Whereas low light footage on the Galaxy does tend to be a bit more murky. That said, I do really like the smooth zoom on the Galaxy S25 Ultra. That's really good when you're zipping between the different lenses. And both phones also serve up an audio eraser tool to help reduce any background twattery like people speaking, wind noise, all that kind of stuff. And I have found that overall it is more effective on the Pixel 9 Pro XL, especially when it comes to windy, gusty stuff and that background crowd sort of murmur. Of course, the Pixel audio eraser tool has been around for ages already, and the Galaxy has only just been introduced, so hopefully Samsung will refine it over the coming weeks/months. But what about the selfie camera? Well, it's a basic 12 megapixel selfie shooter here on the Galaxy S25 Ultra versus a 42 meg effort here on the Pixel 9 Pro XL. You can shoot up to 4K resolution footage on both these handsets at either 30 or 60 frames per second. But if you want those HDR10 smarts here on the Pixel 9 Pro XL, you will have to reduce the frame rate to 30 FPS, whereas the Galaxy copes absolutely fine at 60 FPS. And there you have it, my lovelies. That in a tasty wee nutshell is how the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL stacks up against the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. Now, as you can see there, Galaxy S25 Ultra has a couple of advantages over the Pixel 9 Pro XL. Certainly if you're big into your gaming, bit of Wuthering Waves, Genshin Impact, whatever it may be, that is the more capable of this pair. On the flip side, if you're all about the camera tech, you want to get crispy, good-looking photos, especially of your offspring or pets or whatever, well, the Pixel is probably the one for you. But which one are you more tempted by? This is where it'd be great to hear from you guys down in the comments below. I've done a full 2-month review of the Pixel 9 Pro XL, and I've done 100 hours with the Galaxy S25 Ultra. I'm hoping to get a full in-depth review of that after a month or so of playing around with it and really getting to grips with some of the AI features and all that shenanigans. So please do poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell so you don't miss out on all that fun times, and make sure you have yourselves a ruddy, wonderful rest of the week. Cheers everyone. Love you.